You're listening to the Loyalty Minute, the show that helps you build better customer loyalty and more valuable user engagement, with your host, Rob Gallo.
Welcome, loyal listeners, to another episode of the Loyalty Minute. I'm your host, Rob Gallo, and today I'm eager to chat with Nicola Buck, and I didn't even ask you if that's pronounced correctly, but I'm sure you'll clarify that, and Adam Glauberman with BP, British Petroleum, for those of you who drive electric cars and don't stop at any of their 7,200 locations across the U.S. BP just launched a new loyalty program earlier this year called BPme Rewards. So we're going to talk about that and other useful brand and customer loyalty insights. So welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us. Glad to be here.
Am I pronouncing that correctly? Nicola or Nicola?
You are, yeah, Nicola, yes. Well, I obviously from my accent, you can tell I'm British. So with a different kind of stress on the vowel, but yeah, Nicola or Nicola is fine.
Nicola, okay. So for those guests out there who don't know who you guys are or what you do, perhaps you could share a bit of a story, background, how you both landed at BP and how you've learned over the years about customer brand loyalty, and that would be helpful to our listeners in their particular businesses. So let's start with you.
Yeah, happy to. So Nicola Buck, I'm head of marketing for BP for Fuels North America, so responsible for our gas station business across the US. We have nearly 7,000 sites. I have been in the US 2 years. I've been with BP coming on for 15 years now, and before that I was with a company called Boots, which is a global pharmaceutical business. Also retail business, and that's where I started my career. And I actually started in loyalty, supporting what was known as the Advantage Card program for Boots. And that was a program where it simply you collected points at the time, and you could reward those points on treats for yourself. Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting for me, 15 years on, that the principles behind loyalty are still the same, but just getting more and more sophisticated and looking at how technology can help take that to another level and using the power of data to really drive that forward. And that program still goes on today, and I bring some of those principles with us. And I've done various jobs at BP in kind of global strategy roles and local roles. But what I love is being at the front end with our consumers here in the US, learning about the US market and really looking at how technology can help us build those long-term relationships and build loyal relationships with our customers ever more.
Great stuff. Adam?
Yeah, so I've been with BP in marketing for 13 years. And right now I lead our loyalty marketing team. Essentially, we're working to deliver seamless and personalized experiences to support consumers that are shopping with us every day. I've held a variety of roles in payment, digital communication, digital product, and CRM. And so what's interesting is I've been able to see the confluence of all these areas start to come together as the world, as Nicola mentioned, is evolving quite significantly. And what's really funny about it is it's been interesting to see BP evolve during those 13 years. I remember when I first started, I moved from Ohio to Chicago, where our marketing headquarters are. And my boss at the time was asking if I had heard about this grocery fuel program from a grocer in Pennsylvania, Ohio, called Giant Eagle. And they have a program with their Gitco fuel centers. And I had been using it for years. And now when you think about the landscape, obviously it's evolving well beyond just, grocer and fuel relationships. But it is quite interesting to see how the world is changing significantly, especially in the tech and with the introduction of technology coming to the forefront.
Yeah, absolutely. I could say this about both of you. Loyalty is obviously in your blood when you've both been with the company for 13 plus years, I believe. You don't see that often.
Yep, that's right.
Nowadays, you see, obviously, I'm sure the majority of our listeners are perusing through LinkedIn on a regular basis, and you see people that have been with companies for a year, 2 years, and then they move on. A year or 2 years, they move on. It's good to see people that are loyal to building something big, and obviously BP, I'm assuming, has a good core infrastructure that helps their employees thrive in these types of situations.
Yeah, we saw a stat recently which said, the way you treat your employees is ultimately reflected in the way your offers will come to market for consumers. And I couldn't kind of feel strongly about that. I won't speak for Adam, but for myself, I've been here a long time, and that's because the company kind of treats us really well, and because there are always new opportunities. Every couple of years there's something new to be involved in. There's a new project, and ultimately we are committed to delivering that fantastic experience for consumers. And technology changes all the time, which means there's always something new to learn, and we're supported in doing that. And we genuinely hope that we can transfer the way we feel about that internally to our customers, and to achieve a great consumer experience there too.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah, it definitely comes through. So before I hit the record button, we went over kind of how I like to do the format. I think in stories. I think of, you think about your own personal past, regardless of what it is, positive, negative experiences. You think about the story that revolves around it. And those are what people remember most. Kind of statistics go by the wayside. So the very first question that I ask people on the show is, what does loyalty, customer loyalty, mean to you as a consumer? And if you could, answer in the form of a story that might resonate with our listeners.
Yeah, happy to. Should I? I'll kick off, and then Adam, I'll hand it over to you.
Ladies
so
first.
I have two examples from my own experience. One, loyalty is so much more than just being given points that you can redeem on something. I go into Walgreens, for example, and I just get points, and I collect them every time, but I have no idea really why I'm collecting them. And yet I compare that to, it was my birthday last year, and I was walking into town, and I stopped at a little coffee shop where I don't have a loyalty card, but I always stop there because it's on my way to work, and it's kind of nice and modern, and I like the people. And I went up to the window, and I ordered my usual coffee, and they knew from their data it was my birthday, and they just handed me a free donut. I have no idea how they knew that. It wasn't part of a scheme, but they did, and that kind of surprise and delight moment kind of would make me loyal to them for a long time. And that's over and above any specific program that I might have signed up for or points I might have collected. And that's a tale I will continue to recollect, and the joy that brought in that moment was fantastic. And then the other one that I always quote at the moment is, my son broke his leg last year skiing. And the way companies responded in light of that kind of will determine my loyalty to them in future years. So we will go skiing. We love skiing. So, hopefully all being well, we will go every year. And obviously when you go skiing, you have everything from lift passes to lessons to ski hire, and everything else that goes into making a ski trip. And obviously that's pretty pricey that goes with it. Yeah. But my son broke his leg on day 2 of the ski holiday. And the way that I was treated by different parts of that, those suppliers will make or break who I work with in the future. Some of them immediately just kind of said, no problem, we'll refund the rest of the week. What do you need? How can we help you? And for those brands, I will be forever loyal. Others just referred back to a computer says no type answer. And guess what? I won't be going back to those suppliers in future. So for me, loyalty is about really understanding your customers on a personal basis and being able to tailor your approach to make the customer experience itself over and above any particular loyalty program as good as it can possibly be, and really recognize me as an individual and my individual circumstances.
Yeah, I concur. Brand loyalty comes way beyond points. It becomes a part of the brand. You do business with those companies because you like the way they treat you on a personal level, and that makes you feel that they're actually listening to you. It's not a canned answer, and that's usually the biggest determining difference between someone that sticks with a brand and someone that doesn't. And it's amazing how many companies in today's day and age really don't get it. But it's completely a shame. Adam, how about yourself? What does brand and customer loyalty mean to you?
Yeah, so for me, it's very much one simple thing, which is about creating that meaningful connection. And the story that I've got, for the group is one about a very local restaurant that's in our town. Every weekend, we go out to breakfast. Sometimes with friends, sometimes by ourselves. I have 2 kids and a wonderful wife. And we have found that there's a local place in Northbrook, Illinois called Georgie V's. Quick plug for them. And every time I walk into Georgie V's, the owner of the restaurant comes up, says, "Hi, Adam," shakes my hand, gives the kids a high five. He tries to sit us as quickly as possible. My wife has a severe gluten allergy. The wait staff, know her allergy. They make sure that she has what she needs to feel comfortable eating. The product they put out, the food is wonderful. He'll stop by our table every time, check in, make sure we're doing okay. He might bring us a new coffee drink that they're making, or they've added to the menu. But in general, just doing something to really make sure that our experience is first rate. And
not to say, let me cut you off, Adam, real quick. Not to say that you guys don't deserve it as a family, but does he do this with anyone else?
He does do this with other people, and that's what makes the experience so wonderful, and that's why I want to mention it. We have friends that come with us, and we'll notice that over time, as he gets to know or recognize the people that are coming to the restaurant more and more often, he's taking that same effort with those folks because he knows who is becoming more loyal. He recognizes who's stopping by, and he realizes the power of that relationship and that meaningful connection. And so, to Nicola's point, we see a lot of brands wrap their programs around discounts, right, and points. He doesn't have a program at all. He doesn't need one. The way he runs his business and the connections that he makes with folks that choose to patronize is, in my opinion, really the right way to go about it. So really someone doing the right thing, in my opinion.
Certainly sounds like it. And then again, I'm assuming he's busy as a result of it, which is the paradox of how personal can you actually get at scale when is it a franchise or just one location?
Just one location.
Wow.
One location. I mean, again, a part of this is the more you go somewhere, the more that the folks on staff will get used to you, but you can apply that to anywhere, and I know it's harder for national brands, like ourselves to do that, but there is the power of data. There is the power of the relationship that, can be leveraged at any point in time to deliver, that better consumer experience. And, it's funny when I talk to, friends and family members about why they, spend money at certain places, you typically hear more about those types of stories and experiences than you do about, the amount of points that I get or the amount of miles that I have, right? It's about, the experience that you had with their customer service or, the fact that, someone treated you in a special way, and less about, well, I get, I get a free drink every 12 times.
Or a free donut on Nicola's birthday.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but getting to Nicola's point earlier on in the conversation was that she does recognize that she does get points, whether she really pays attention or not. And I think there's a deep psychological impact when people are getting points. It's called gamification. I mean, people are gamified whether they recognize it or not. I think it's at a subconscious level that people are competitive and they want to create more for themselves by creating more points. And whether how you're getting them at Walgreens or not. And CVS to me does the same thing. So we have a local CVS. I go in there. I don't even know how many points I have. I give them my phone number when I buy something and it accumulates and I don't think about it. I don't look on their site or anything like that. But the real key for me with them is as soon as I go in there and I go to check out, she'll say, "Oh, you have $6 in extra bucks. Do you want to use them?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" Right? So that is a home run for me. That's frictionless to the point where I go back to CVS just for that reason, because I might have something there, that gamified type of situation. Now, I'm not in CVS
I think
all
that's
the
right.
time, but when I am there, that's, what I think about, which I thought was pretty.
I agree. And I also think there's an element of you don't want to feel like you're missing out either. Yeah. So, I do that too. And it's my own fault. I don't understand the program. I haven't read up on it, but I would always give them my phone number to get the points. because you don't want to feel like you're stupid in some way in missing out, right? So you do it anyway, and then they have the ability to delight you if they're able to use that information in a way that resonates, and we totally see that too.
Yeah. So now I want to switch the tables a little bit to the BPme Rewards, the new program that you guys launched earlier this year. Now I see that also members have the ability to earn fuel discounts when they shop at select grocery stores on the site. But have you guys thought about the marketplace model where companies can earn from not just from a customer, can earn not just spending on groceries, but on all their online shopping at Walmart, Kmart, Home Depot. So a lot of other companies are doing this now, recognizing that 57% of people in a loyalty program stop using it, saying it takes too long to earn a reward. So they allow people to earn rewards from other things, like in your case, shopping at grocery stores, that they can then use those points and burn them off at discounts for fuel at BP. So have you guys thought about any systems like that, which I'm going to say a competitor, and I don't mean it in that way, but Shell's Fuel Rewards, I think, does a fantastic job of letting people earn rewards for shopping online at Walmart, Kmart, Home Depot, Best Buy, but then only use those points for discounts at gas in their locations.
Yeah, so I can take that one. I mean, we absolutely have a vision where we want to give consumers the opportunity to enhance the amount of discount that they're receiving at our stations, for purchases that they might make in other places. But I think more importantly is the idea that you mentioned, which is that consumers want to quickly be able to redeem the value that they have and not have to wait a long period of time. There's so many programs out there where you might earn points or miles or what have you, and it takes forever to figure out what you're going to get for that. And in some cases, you might not ever get enough or accrue enough to be able to redeem something that really makes a lot of sense. So the way that we've built our program is that we don't use points at all, and it's very straightforward. So essentially, consumers on our program just get a basic 5-cent discount on all the gallons that they fill up, as long as they essentially spend $100 in a month. Mm-hmm. And they can use that 5 cents on every single gallon that they buy at BP or an Amoco station here in the US with no real restrictions. And so what we found is that because gas is a everyday purchase, it's something that consumers typically buy quite often, that they're able to get value very, very quickly. And so the way that we look at partnerships is it's an opportunity to enhance that value and to help other brands find ways where they can take their points or their miles and translate that into something that their consumers can bring and feel like they're getting something for. So we look at it less from a BP perspective and more about a way to help other brands deliver value to consumers when they might not have the ability to offer a redemption as often as we can, given the engagement that their consumers would have in making purchases with them.
Yeah, because again, I'm thinking of, I know like at Shell and their fuel rewards, the way it works is you get, it's not really points, maybe it is points, but it's cents off for every gallon when you buy, buy a ceiling fan from Home Depot and you're part of the program, you earn now an extra 3 cents that goes into your, in this case, BPme Rewards program, that I can get 3 cents off a gallon the next time I spend. And I'm sure, they're paying them on the back end as a sort of an affiliate model. So I just thought it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely an interesting model. I think there's definitely a place for it, and a lot of the work that we do is focused really on just the general consumer insights, right? And we recognize, being very honest about our industry, that not everyone, talks highly about their gas station experience.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, just being brutally honest, right? When the moment that you realize you need gas, you're typically in a rush to get somewhere, right? You're trying to get from point A to point B. And at that moment, we've introduced a point of friction for the consumer. So for us, our goal is to be able to reduce that friction as much as possible And so the way that we've built out our program is to take a look at standard programs that are out there, programs that might have red tape, that might have, earning models with points that are a bit complex, experiences that, require the consumer, even in our industry, to have to go to the dispenser and type in your zip code and go through a bunch of prompting. Imagine being here in Chicago and it's, 5 degrees outside and you're standing outside your car going through that process, super frustrating, and trying to figure out, well, how can we create an experience that values the consumer's time and gives them something that gets them in and out of the station so that they can accomplish whatever moment it is that they're looking to accomplish at that point, and get them the reward that they deserve at the same time without them having to make a bunch of choices or really think much about it. And so that's the way we've structured our program. And there's definitely a role for partners, but we're focused, as much as we're focused on partners, we're also focused on just delivering that basic seamless experience for the consumer, because we do recognize kind of where their mindset is.
Yeah. No, I get it. And that's probably one of the reasons I moved to West Palm Beach, Florida, because I just All right. So, Nicola, as a marketing professional, all right, can you share some of the pain points that you might have when it comes to creating and maintaining customer loyalty? Again, I know it might be hard to answer in the form of a story, but let me know what you think.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, we really believe in this concept of customer experience. And so the way we try to map pain points is really thinking about every touch point that a consumer has when they come to our stores. So, you only have to put yourself into the mindset of that. We often use a coffee shop as a good way to do that, to try to turn that into a story. That if you imagine when you go into a coffee shop, you walk in the door and the first thing that you're met with is a queue. Right, so that's your first pain point. So you walk in the door, you're in a rush. If I imagine when I'm in my morning commute to work, I walk into the door, there's a queue of people. I don't want to see that queue because I want to get in and out quickly. Right, so that's my first pain point on my morning coffee journey. As I walk up to the ordering area, I'm then faced with a lot of choice. Right, do you want? And today in lots of coffee shops you can get a crazy array of choice. Do I want a latte or a cappuccino or skim milk or almond milk, or with an extra shot or extra hot or syrup, and that kind of choice can be very difficult too, right? So then you hit another pain point. And then you might be asked for your name, which if you take kind of the example we had here, right? When I go into coffee shops here and they ask for my name, I say Nicola, and they say, what? And it takes me 3 times to get my name right, which has added another kind of 10, 20 seconds to an experience that can take too long anyway. Then you pay. Typically, paying is pretty easy if you've got your card or contactless pay. And then you have to go and wait for your drink, which in a world where you've got people ordering in store and you've got people having ordered online, you often now have to wait kind of a good 10 minutes to get your drink. So that's another pain point. How do you balance all of those? And so that logic of something that sounds really simple, like going to buy a coffee, getting in the way of customer experience with all those touch points on a customer journey can really make a customer turn something that is pretty simple into a negative experience. And that's exactly the way we hold it at BP, as Adam has said, that filling up with gas is an everyday experience and it's a critical part of people's lives. So as much as it's a kind of a not very exciting thing to do in a day, if people can't fill up with gas, then they can't get where they're going, they can't take their kids to school, they can't get their groceries. So it's a really important part of people's lives. But what we really understand at the heart of it is that customers are willing to spend 3 or 4 minutes with us filling up, but they become really annoyed if that 3 or 4 minutes becomes 4.5 or 5 minutes, because it delays a kind of emergency purchase, and they don't really like that delay. And so really understanding all those touch points on that customer experience of what happens when they pull up to pump, what happens when they're at pump, how do we make it as frictionless as possible for them to pay, and how do we make it a pleasant experience when they're there. We look at all those touch points and those pain points and how we can solve them. And exactly as Adam has said, we come at loyalty from two approaches. One is to make that experience as frictionless as possible, which we know is the most important thing you can do for a customer at a gas station. Get them in and out in a seamless and nice way, and then reward them through the programs that we're developing through BPme Rewards that Adam gave you the overview of afterwards. And if you can start to touch those pain points and really get those pain points right, then that can lead to some really effective loyalty, because in the end, the most important thing is getting in and out quickly in a nice way. And maybe just one final point on that. I mean, but you have to get the points right. You can have the best loyalty experience as possible, kind of filling up at the pump. But if a customer then chooses to go into the store and has a really bad restroom experience and the restroom isn't well kept, then that customer experience, however good it was at pump, is eroded. And whatever program you have also becomes irrelevant because the overall customer experience wasn't good enough. So you've really got to get the balance right of all those things and find the pain points that you want to fix and fix them well to make the program and the experience surrounding it as good as it can be.
And do you guys collect all that data too and collate it and try to make sense of it? Because it's a mound of data, I'm sure, with 7,200 locations and tens of thousands of people, if not more, using it on a regular basis. It just seems like you're inundated with the amount of data that you could be parsing to figure out.
Yeah. I mean, so we do, and we have lots of data, and data will be at the heart of what we do in the future as well. But we break it down into two. So we conduct what we would call qualitative studies with our sites to understand the pain points. And generally, those pain points filter up to being pretty consistent. So we know what they are, and we pick 4 or 5 key pain points that we use to guide what we're developing. And Adam has touched on a lot of those, from making a seamless experience through to how we reward customers in an easy to understand fashion that they can be rewarded on simply and easily every time they use. And we use those principles to guide what we do. And then in addition to that, we collect all sorts of data. And that is a journey that we're on, as are many customers and many companies, whereby you look to the future and the future of rewards within loyalty programs. And it will be the power of all that data that allows us to reward our consumers on a personalized one-to-one basis. And that's something we're just starting to build out through the data we have, how we store that data, how we use that data to drive CRM programs and personalized rewards for consumers. And that is really what we believe will be the kind of next generation of loyalty, is the ability to use that data and that massive data effectively to drive personalization in the future.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure we'll see someone pulling up to the pump and everyone knows your name like Norm from Cheers, but if it gets as close as it could be, where even if people are at the pump and then going in for a cup of coffee, which I'm sure a lot of people still do, to know the type of coffee that they're going to and order while they're at the pump, maybe. There's a lot of cool things you could do with technology. So listen, I know this conversation has gone on.
Not so far off, by the way.
About this for forever, but. I really do appreciate both of you guys coming on the show today. And if listeners wanted to get a hold of you for more information, what's the best way to do that?
By all means, we can share contact details or contact us via the BP website. But let us know what you need, and I'm happy to chat if people have got thoughts or ideas. Okay,
so I'll put a link to that in the show notes. And this way, if people wanted to reach out for more information on the program and how it works, they'd be able to do that with no problem. So again, I wanted to thank you guys for coming on the show. I want to thank our loyal listeners. I don't know if there's anything else you guys wanted to add to the balance of this before I wrap it up, Adam or Nicola?
Download BPme Rewards and let us know what you think.
There you go. All right, feedback. That's what you want.
Shameless plug. There you go.
So again,
thanks for having us.
Our loyal listeners, say again, Adam.
Yeah, I was going to say thank you for having us on.
Yeah.
My pleasure. So to our listeners, if you feel received value from the show, we would definitely appreciate a 5-star review on one of your favorite podcast streaming services. If you think you know someone who else might value listening to this podcast, please do share it. That's how we grow. To reference this and other Loyalty Minute episodes, please visit theloyaltyminute.com. Enjoy.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for your next edition of the Loyalty Minute.